Evening, Mr. Doyle. How are you?
I'm not too bad. How are you doing?
Well, could be better because, of course, an AFC Bournemouth legend has decided to leave the club um, and go up to Nottingham. So, yeah, very, very gutted. Somebody, of course,
I'm
who was.
happy. I'm happy.
Yeah, I bet you would be. I bet you would be. So, what I really wanted to do on this show was just discuss Steve's career and how excited the Forest fans are. Which you got a smile on your face. You're always got loads to say, Mister Dawes. So
Always, always.
yeah, no, it's a pleasure to have you back on. So, of course, Steve Cook signed under Lee Bradbury some years ago, some 10 years ago, and he signed from Brighton. He'd been on loan at Havant, at Mansfield, at Eastleigh. So there was loads of clubs and Eastbourne Borough as well. So he'd really been round some non-league clubs and then come to Bournemouth, where he really made his name. Um, Looking back to that, did you at that point, did you even know who Steve Cook was, or was you just focused really primarily on Forest and the Championship?
No, I knew Steve Cook was. Like I said, he started with for years. So I knew it was. Like I said, an experienced centre back as well
Hmm.
with Bournemouth. But when I heard who was linked with him,
Hmm.
I said to myself, the first thing I said is not another centre back because we've got so many centre backs at the club.
Yeah,
But slowly, when we heard we made a bid for him,
yeah.
I thought so. Then you got to look at it because he's been there and done that in Bournemouth
Hmm.
from League One to the Premier League. I thought this is a good experienced player for the young players
Yeah.
that we've got, like players like Joe Worrell. McKenna's only 24 as well. So bringing in someone like Steve Cook experience,
Hmm.
especially with, as far as fans been saying, when we're playing the back three,
Yeah.
would I say short term, if Forest get promoted, it's a massive help. But for
Hmm.
long term, like if we don't get promoted this season, next season it's going to be a massive, massive help for the Forest young players as well.
I know you're probably excited about him now, but did you know back in all those years ago, back in 2011, had you ever heard of him at that point, or was you no?
Nope, nope,
But
never,
of
never heard of him.
course, he gradually made his way through the leagues, managed to get us into the championship,
I remember, I
and
remember, I
then
remember, I remember when he got promoted from the championship. I think
yeah,
what game was it? Was it Chilton that you confirmed as
yes,
champion? Yeah. So I
yes.
remember that. Yeah, I remember that time.
But then of course he had a fantastic career in the Premier League as well.
Yeah.
And then captained the side last year. So it's a bit of a weird one for us. Of course, he's been on this show, he's done the interview with us, and it's an absolute pleasure to have him on. He's somebody I know quite a lot about. He's a model professional, both on the pitch but also away from the pitch as well. What what do you think that sort of player and that sort of leader is going to bring to Forest? And do you think it could come back to bite us in the backside?
100%, 100%. Because you look at it, like Bournemouth are playing well, and
Hmm.
you always need, like, right at the end of the season, you need a leader, and that's what Forest are lacking. Like, I'm
Hmm.
not saying like we have got leaders. Can I say leaders? What Lewis Graben, he's 34 years old. He's been our captain this season. Joe Wall, 23, 24. But bringing an experienced defender who's been there, done that, and he's been promoted for Bournemouth so many times. It's a massive help for Forest. So
Hmm.
With Bournemouth, I know you've got players like Cahill as well, and don't wrong, Cahill's a fantastic defender, experience wise, but you always need another experienced defender. But I personally think it's going to bite Bournemouth because I know Scott Parker didn't play him as much, but I personally think it will. But as far as his game, that's all it matters. It's come to a club that we need a leader, and that's what Forest are lacking.
And of course, he built such a good partnership with Nathan Ake as well in the Premier League. That partnership, was instrumental to us staying there for 5 years as well. So, like I say, he's an outstanding servant. He's getting his testimonial. It was mentioned on the website as well. So that is, it's going to be a great event. That. Especially considering all he's done for the club. He was involved with the Uganda Cherries as well, and some of the money that he's raised has been outstanding. And also, he's chipped in and put money in out of his own pocket. With what he's done at Bournemouth in mind, even if you do get promoted to the Premier League, do you think he will be able to make a stand in the Premier League, and B, help Forest keep Forest there?
The problem is, like I said, he's 30 years old, and that's the problem. Like I said, he's done 10 fantastic years for Bournemouth, but he's at a different club, different expectation as well, and different surroundings. Because Forest fans, our expectations is so high, and all we want to do is be in the Premiership. And with Steve Cook, like I said, the short term, like I said, it's signed 2.5 year contract. Hopefully, if it's not this season, it'd be a benefit for next season. Like if we sell Joe Worrell, and Cook could play alongside McKenna. So if you look at it, like Forest fans have been saying, if you're playing a free, Cook can play that, and that's right in the middle. But if it's not two, you can play alongside McKenna. So like I said, this the short term. It's going to be a massive help because, like I said, we're ninth in the league, and if we do this Premiership, Cook has got experience in the Premier League. Like I said, was it 4 years he was in there with them?
5.
So, 5 years. So it is a massive bonus for Cook if Forest is promoted. But like I said, I don't want to talk about Premier League because we've not been there for 23, 24 years now. So I'm going to talk about the Championship, and like I said, if Cook can give us that little edge in that defense, then Forest fans, like myself, I'm not going to complain because that's what we need. We need a leader, and that's what we're lacking. We've had defenders like we had Des Walker, who was a leader. We had I was talking about defenders like I said, Des Walker's a leader. Colin Cooper. We've not had a proper leader at the back. We've had like Paul McKenna, a centre midfielder, but as a leader, Cook will be positive for us. But time will tell. Because Forest fans are all fickle. 2 bad games, Cook will get slated. That's how Forest fans are. So hopefully it's something positive, and that Cook can be the player that can achieve what Forest fans want to do.
And I think he will do. Because I think he takes good care of himself. He's passionate. He'll always leave everything out there on the pitch. From the memories of course, in the Premier League as well, what really does stand out for you, Mr. Dorr? What excites you by Cook, and what he's going to be able to bring, to the whole side and setup.
The whole, like I said, experience. That word experience, and like I said, that's what we lack. And we talk about Lewis Grobber. He's 34 years old, ex-Bournemouth player as well. And we talk about Joe Worrell. He's a leader as well. But when we've got someone like Cook, who's been there, done that, and if these last 6 months of the season, it's going to be crucial. And I think we need that experience from Cook. We need it. It's like he's won promotion twice, like League One, Championship, staying in the Premiership for 5 years, and it's going to be so important for, especially our young players like got Joe Worrell, especially like Ryan Yates as well. And we've got a good a good academy as well. So that is a massive help, especially in training. Like you mentioned off the pitch as well. Things off the
Yeah.
pitch. And Forest, we've got a good relationship with Forest off the pitch, like I said myself. And it's going to be important, really important, for especially our defenders to learn off him, especially Joe Wall, because like if Joe Wall stays in the January window, if Forest doesn't go up, he's definitely going, and because I think he deserves to be, he deserves a shot in the Premier League. But like I said, he to be around like a leader. That's what we need. That's what Forest asked for, a leader, and it's going to be a massive help for the Forest on and off the pitch.
One thing that Steve Cook did mention is this season, he missed 20 games. In so many years, he hadn't missed anywhere near 20 games. So it really shows what he's all about. And, his performances have been second to none. That Fulham game, especially, was outstanding. And do you think before that game, he knew what his fate was going to be, that he was going to be leaving this football club, and he still put out, because there's an old cliche that, there is players who don't give 110% for the shirt, and players that are just at clubs for a payday. That's not Steve Cook. And he threw himself at that ball in two separate occasions.
Yeah.
But do you believe that he knew his fate at that point?
100%. And when you got to play like Steve Cook, like he's been at the club for 10 years, and I don't know the ins and outs of Bournemouth, but it says if Scott Parker is not playing a player that does it all for Bournemouth, and the thing that you mentioned, the thing he did against Fulham, I keep watching it, like all football fans watch it for what he's done, and that's what Forest missed. I think the last person that done that was, I can mention Michael Dawson at Forest,
yeah,
and he didn't really play much games under Samuel Limucci. But if Steve Cook does that on the pitch for Forest and leads his tickets to the Premiership, he'd be a legend. Like he's a legend at Bournemouth after 10 years. Yeah. He'll be a legend at Forest just after 2.5 years. So that's what we need. We need a leader. And I think Bournemouth, like I said, I mentioned it, Bournemouth are gonna be upset. If they don't go up, I think they will. It's going to be tough, but Bournemouth got a good side. I mentioned Gary Cahill, good player, but you need that extra spark of player who knows the club inside out. And like I said, it's our game. Like I said, we need that leader. So I think Scott Parker will. If I don't know, could get a better player than Steve Cook, but it's not about players. You need that person, that presence of knowing the club inside out. So I think it's a bad decision for Bournemouth, but that's it. It's our game.
And to be honest, you've hit the nail right on the head there as well, because what Steve Cook gave us was that continuity from those League One days, from going through the Championship. If you look at the Bournemouth squad now, apart from Junior Stanislas and Adam Smith, there's nobody else who was part of that journey from the Championship last time round, and that was a special squad of players. And to lose that, it's such a shame. Do you feel that continuity was key to Bournemouth's success? And do you feel that now Cook has gone, there's a concern, and rightly so, that Eddie Howe regime that managed to get us there the first time round and knew how to fight to get us into that Premier League, where the expectation that season was, we didn't expect it as Bournemouth fans. We didn't expect to go up, but they did it, and we've lost that. Do you feel that is gonna be, well, it would have been imperative for the remainder of the season if Cook had stayed, just to help those young lads over the line.
I think it is like you mentioned, like with Cook, if Cook stayed with Fulham, not from Bournemouth, like I said, you top of the league, aren't you? You top of the league, aren't you?
Yes.
Yes.
Yep.
And you can mention, like I said Bournemouth will finish top of the league, but like I keep mentioning it, like you need that leader, and you mentioned the old manager and
Eddie Howe, yeah.
Eddie Howe, and I can talk about Forest, like I said, since Dave Bassett, or if you mentioned Frank Clark or Brian Clough, we've not been the same since Dave Bassett. I mentioned Dave Bassett. Since then, it's not been great. Like I said, we had fantastic players, won the league, and I think these players here, Chris Williams, Kevin Campbell, we had the best team. Got promoted. These players went, and since then, it's not been the same. And you mentioned with Eddie Howe, like Eddie Howe was there for years, and then when he left, and then it was Tyndall was your manager.
Yeah, Jason Tyndall.
I personally thought it was a wrong decision for him because it's never the same. And then you get Scott Parker. For me, I think it was a bit. I don't know. I know we got Fulham promoted and that, but look at you've got a good squad. Let's put it plain. You've got a good squad with David Solanke. I know Brooks. He's not playing as well, but you've got a good squad. But you need that kind of, like I said, I mentioned Cook.
Yeah.
That type of player to get you through, because like I said, we're halfway through the season now, and you need that character in the changing room. It's all right to be on the pitch, but in the changing room or off the pitch, you need that character. So you mentioned with Bournemouth, can they go downhill since Eddie Howe? You're top of the league. So you can't complain, can you?
I think the thing is, though, with Steve Cook in that squad, we would be so much stronger. He's a player that's been there, done that, got the T-shirt, and that's what he brought to this side, was not just putting performances on the pitch, was uniting everybody as well at the club and helping guide us there, helping keep us there, and helping pick people up. Even recently, he actually helped homeless people in the Bournemouth area or struggling families, as was, with meals around Christmas alongside Lewis Cook. Now, that shows, even though he knew that he was leaving the club, how much he cares. And he's a great player, and I think he will be for Forest. But there's so many memories here. That we've got the Newcastle game, we've got the 4-3 against Liverpool, we've got Ipswich, we've got the Bolton game, this Charlton game which you mentioned. There's all these games that he's done so well. Getting us promoted from League One, he was a big part of that as well. And now we've lost that continuity. That's the thing that concerns me, is that sort of presence in the changing room is massive to our club. But I think you got a very, very special player, and this short show, I wanted to really create it as a bit of a thank you to Steve Cook for what he's done at this club, and wish him all the very, very best at Forest. But like I say, Mr. Dorr, thank you so much for coming on.
No worries. Thank you for having me on.
That's all right. Hey, not a problem at all. Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure, as always.
I'll see you in February.
Yes, you will do. Don't you worry. Yeah, hopefully Cookie's not going to do many stops like he did against Fulham.
Last minute header.
It probably will be like the bit like the Newcastle game.
Yeah, unbelievable.
Thank you so much again, Mr. Dorr.
Peace and love. Thank you very much. Subscribe to Dorr on Tour as well, people. Just
Yes, make sure you do it. Make sure you do it. All right. Cheers, mate.